Welcome to Teen Up, a podcast that digs deeper into the thoughts of teenagers' mind about the wonders of the world.
If you're new here, I'm your host, Isabella.
And I'm Glenn. If you're not, welcome back.
Here is a quick disclaimer. We are two teenagers that are doing our best to research everything. However, we are not experts, so if we offend anyone or say something wrong, we want to apologize in advance. Please email us to tell us what was wrong. Thank you.
This week, we're looking into a movie called The Unforgivable. We will be discussing different aspects of this movie that we find contradicting.
So The Unforgivable is a 2021 drama film that is on Netflix, and it is directed by Nora Finn-Shyatt and written by Peter Craig and other people. And this film is based on a British mini-series called Unforgiven. And I guess the storyline, a lot of people say, I've never watched Unforgiven before, but I see that a lot of people say that they're quite similar, except for the part where all of the casts in Unforgiven are white, I think. And in The Unforgivable, there are black casts, but I don't know much about that other than that. Okay, so one of the big parts about this movie that I feel that we could really think about is, should the audience empathy for Ruth Slater, the main character?
Yeah, I think that is one of the things that the movie wants the audience to think about.
Okay, so the story is mainly about this main character, Ruth. She just got out of prison after 20 years and she wants to live a normal life in society. But she's unable to do that because as soon as people know her for what she did, which is killing a cop, and she got put into prison, people are going to start thinking of her as a cop killer instead of just Ruth Slater herself. It really depicts the life of a person that just came out of prison, and it shows how harsh the society is towards these type of people and how they're just trying to live a good life. And a main part of this story is Ruth Slater trying to find her sister. So she had to take care of her sister before she went to prison. And throughout the whole story, she's fighting for her, not fighting for her right, but just fighting to see her sister or talk to her.
Right. And I think why the movie wants us to feel that way is because these criminal issues are always one of the hottest topics in debates. And I just feel like, Ruth, and with the narrative of the film, it's looking at how she struggles in life and how people's reaction towards her changed when they know about her past. And I feel like that's what the movie wants us, the audience, to think about whether it is right to judge people overly relying on their past, stuff like that.
Right. And having been in a prison doesn't make that the only thing that defines you, because there are actually other parts of this main character that aren't just defined by her being a cop killer. Like she's a carpenter, which is a different view, and the police that follows her around tells her to not look for jobs in carpentry because she's not gonna get it. He's making her feel like she's nothing else but a prisoner. So a spoilers warning, I'm gonna talk about the plot twist here. So the plot twist, until the very, very end of the movie, the film finally shows that Ruth Slater isn't actually the killer. It was her sister that was too young to even realize that what she has done. So Ruth takes on the responsibility of doing this action and hopes that her sister could live a good life. And really, in the end, it shocked the audience for those who don't feel empathy for her at all throughout the whole movie, I feel like.
Well, I think that is certainly very true. How the end and the plot twist comes out at that point, I was very shocked because I did feel empathy for Ruth Slater and how she was treated, because in a way, I feel like people should have second chances because it's a long life and everybody makes mistakes.
Right.
But at the same time, are there things that shouldn't be forgiven?
Right.
And what's the lines? Hence, unforgivable. I think plot twist is certainly a shock, like how she didn't kill anyone and said it was her sister. But I mean, I feel like to me, the plot twist isn't 100% necessary because I feel like it makes the movie a little bit, it just makes it too obvious, like what the director and the writer is trying to do here.
I
I think
see.
it's just a way to gain sympathy, and I don't know, it kind of feels like blaming the audience who didn't feel sympathetic for Ruth.
Right. Which makes it less contradicting on this point because now they're making everyone want to feel that way.
Yes, yes. And I think that's diminishing the depth of this film because it's not contradicting anymore. And with this plot twist, it makes, it's just like, then you should be sympathetic for Ruth because she didn't do anything. And all she did was take care of her sister. She served, in prison and came out as a good person. So what is it not to feel sympathy for her? Right?
Right. Right. Yeah, I do get what you're saying here. And for me, like throughout the whole movie, I've always felt like she doesn't deserve all these hate because she did serve her time for 20 years. And she obviously came out a good person that has changed. I haven't known like it was her sister. Like I felt like she changed and she's not a murderer anymore. But in the end, with the plot twist, it just enhances that feeling of empathy and sympathy towards her.
Yes, yes, totally. But I think the biggest problem that I struggled while watching this film is whether to be sorry for her or not. Because let's say she actually killed the cop. I just don't know. Because, when you're watching this film, you definitely feel that, oh, this Ruth girl, she's like, everybody's mistreating her. She served her time. She should, be able to get jobs and stuff like that. But in reality, if we look at it ourselves, do you want to like hire a murderer?
Right, right.
And like when you're asking these questions to yourselves, you can kind of see differently because if it's not happening to you, then you can look at it with, say, a fair point of view. But when it's happening to you, then you look at things totally differently.
Right.
And I just feel like if this thing is actually happening to me, if, like, say, you're Ruth, I don't know what I will feel. That's for sure.
Right, right.
And it might take some time for me to accept that you've changed. Because changing is hard, let's be honest.
Right.
And to accept that other people, especially people who have committed such crime, I don't think it's easy to accept that they have changed. And I don't think it's easy to just embrace them into your life.
Right. I guess, right, you bring that up. If it was happening to me, I would totally feel different. I suppose, well, I hope a part of me, like if it really happens in real life, I would still feel bad about her situation, but would still not go anywhere near her. And this other part that people find contradicting is the fact that she can't go near her sister at all. Like, should she be able to talk to her sister? There's this scene about her fighting with the family that her sister has been adopted into. I just feel like Ruth should have the chance to at least explain to her sister what happened or why her sister is having these episodes of a past memory that she doesn't know a lot about.
I think with this scene, I don't really like how they depict the father in the scene, like the father of his sister, their foster family.
Wait, why?
Because I feel like his character is too flat in a way that all he does is to be against the whole idea of meeting Ruth. Yeah, I just feel like this character is too flat, and I don't know, I want to see more conflict in this scene. I want to see more thoughts, where it could have been more thoughts in this scene. I feel like without the plot twist, in a way, it could show how these characters are thinking like the audience.
Mm-hmm. Like more could be established, right?
Yeah, because in a way, I feel like the wife of the lawyer
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like what the director or the writer think the audience would think. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a very
Mm-hmm.
typical reaction, but in a way,
Right.
also overreacting. That's just not nice in general.
Mm-hmm. I think each of the character has a lot more to show, and each of them should have more story behind them to let the audience see every aspect of what they're thinking instead of just a lot of static characters that we don't know why they're thinking that way. And the lawyer's, yes, the lawyer's wife, like I've seen her in a lot of movies, and I believe that she could be more than what she is in the movie. And the fact that, yeah, the plot twist part and she changes her attitude towards Ruth is just, I don't know. Yeah, not my favorite part, but it's just how the movie worked out. And the lawyer's wife, she did bring up a point because she's black, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she brings up the point about how black people don't get the chance or don't get what Ruth is having right now, because if a black person were to kill a cop, that person would probably be dead, let alone like being let out into the society again. And it is just a point of view that the one with the British miniseries Unforgiven has never really talked about, and it's just a new aspect that's been brought up in this movie.
Well, that's another thing, though.
Right.
Not to say that it's not important, but I don't think it's necessary in this film.
Right.
If we're just talking about the film,
Right.
it's definitely a very important subject that people should be talking about, but I don't think this is 100% necessary for the development of this film, of this plot.
Right. There are just too many things going on for sure.
And I also think that that part is not very well explained.
Mm-hmm.
It was left
Mm-hmm.
hanging there, and I was actually hoping for more
Mm-hmm.
from the lawyer's family, from, his wife, maybe some of her backstories,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But I guess that's why it was originally a mini-series, because there is a lot to unfold in this plot, and there are a lot of characters that
Right.
should and could be dynamic characters with a complete backstory.
Mm-hmm. After the break, we're going to talk about the revenge plot of this movie.
Welcome back. Now we're gonna focus on the other aspect, revenge, of this movie.
So far we haven't talked about this plot line within the story. There are just so many plot lines. This other one is about the brothers of the sons of the cop that she killed. They feel very revengeful towards Ruth because they think that she did it, that she killed the cop, and it just adds a lot more tension into this movie than necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Because the main plot line of her trying to survive in this society, I think it's already quite enough. And adding on these two brothers is just too much. And the fact that it was one brother starting this revenge thing and then the other brother taking it on because of his marriage issue. Like, it was okay for the audience to not know about the marriage issue.
True.
That only happened for like 5 minutes, and then that plot was like just gone.
I think it's just there for the sake of having a motivation, or, like, honestly, I don't even know. That part felt weird to me.
Right. It was just out of the movie. Like, I don't know. I think that part could be skipped, or find another motive that seems more related to the main plot line, maybe.
And in a way, I feel like the revenge plot is trying to bring out another point. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how should the family feel toward this issue?
Right, the victim's family.
Yeah. Should they just move on? Should they, try to get the murderer killed or something like that?
Right.
And I mean, I think it's an important point in this plot, but the way that this is carried out, I don't think it's the best way.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that,
Mm-hmm.
because every character in this movie is trying to say something, and that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if sometimes their purposes are too obvious.
Ah, I see.
That
Right.
makes them not deep enough and not, dynamic enough of a character.
For sure.
Because the brothers that were revenging and the affair, that was definitely weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was feeling like, why do you need to put this affair in this part of the film?
Right.
And why couldn't the brother just revenge? Because
Mm-hmm.
they want to revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
There could just be one brother, I think.
I don't know what the point is having two brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it certainly adds some suspense to the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it felt weird to me in a way.
Mm-hmm. And the climax with the brother kidnapping the girl, right? And with Ruth trying to save that girl. I think the climax could be something different. It doesn't have to land where the brother is pointing a gun at someone. And it was kind of like a catharsis for the brother too, like him realizing that he shouldn't have this much hate for Ruth to finally, end that tension and suspense in the movie. There could be other ways to do it, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. Well, I think the climax is, I don't know. So while I was watching the movie, I felt fine for the whole thing, like the plot, everything. I mean, yes, certain moments made me feel weird, like the affair, like the lawyer's family and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That made me feel weird. But at the point
Mm-hmm.
of the climax, I'm not sure if just I don't even care anymore, or that I think it's fine. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for something to happen.
Right.
But geez, I don't really like how they revenge. I mean, I just don't think like kidnapping her sister is the best way to revenge. Like
Right,
this,
right,
I
right.
think this is like not even related to the whole plot and everything like that, but it's just like I don't think it's a nice way to revenge someone. Like I'm not sure if the person's gonna feel anything in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. I don't
Right.
particularly have anything to say about the climax, but I thought this movie was fine before I discussed it with you.
Me too.
But then when I'm looking back into like little details of this
Mm-hmm.
movie, I was just like, I was feeling like, yeah, I felt that when I was watching it, but I didn't really think about it that much. I was just like letting it go because
Right.
I think I was like focusing on the main message a lot of the murder,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure.
and the plot line certainly is a little bit complicated.
And yeah, me too. I think I was focusing a lot on the emotions that I was having, a lot of like empathy for the main character and just feeling like, why is the society treating her like this? And rather than the small details that really makes a movie a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And but I guess that if this movie was able to give me that feeling like right after I finished it, I think it's accomplished its goal in some way because I did feel sympathy for the main character, and I think that was one of the things that they were trying to do, the directors were trying to do.
Yeah, it's certainly a success in some departments.
And coming back, now we're talking about the whole movie. There was this review about who is the unforgivable of the title. Is it Slater, the main character? Or was it the violent brothers? Or the whole system? Or the adopted parents who lied to Slater's sister? Like, there could be a lot of people that fits this title. I personally, like, don't think Slater should be the unforgivable person within this movie, but each of them have like their own motives for what they're doing here. It's just that the movie isn't giving us enough background story to really decide who is the unforgivable person.
Actually, to me, I feel like the Unforgivable is talking about Slater.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's how the society think that she is unforgivable.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought about the title. But yeah, I mean, it could certainly be the system. It could certainly be the brother. It could certainly be a lot of people.
Right. Like Slater, now we know the truth, like with the plot twist. She certainly isn't the unforgivable person here, but with the world knowing that thinking that she did the crime, she would be the intended person for this given title.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But there's a lot more to the story.
Yeah. So as that brings us to the end of the Unforgivable, we're going to talk about Clemency, a movie told from a warden's point of view about death penalty next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember to like, subscribe, and share our channel.
Also, comment down below if you have any thoughts. You could click on the bell to get notified when we upload a new video as well.
Thank you and bye.